Today we are going to learn a whip stitch. So to begin stitching, we need to get our needle on our yarn. I am right-handed, so I'm using my right hand to hold my needle. My left hand is holding my yarn. I have to get the yarn through the eye of the needle, that hole. So I hold it with my right hand because I write with my right hand. And I pinch that other side and I slide the needle back and forth, and then I can pinch that yarn through. If that doesn't work for you, some kids find it easier to bend their yarn and make a little loop. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm holding my needle with my right hand and I'm sliding it back and forth by that loop, and then I can pull it. And that helps so our yarn doesn't fray, doesn't break apart. If that still is not working for you, my third magic trick is to take a tiny little piece of paper and put the tail of the yarn in there and fold it. That fold side of my paper is going to go right through the eye of the needle. And if I can pinch that fold with the yarn in it and pull, I will thread my needle. My job is done. Now, to make sure it doesn't fall off and I'd have to do that again, I'm going to tie it. So I take these two ends, just like my shoelaces, and I make a circle and pull my tail through. I'm going to do that 2 times. We call that a double knot. If you need help with that part, a teacher will help you. Now that I'm ready with my needle on my yarn, I'm going to fold this paper. Not completely in half, so my corners aren't going to line up. I'm going to slide it down a little bit and leave a little space. I'm making a crease on the bottom. My fold is a little bit off. I'm going to fix it here. Get that nice and even. All right, now this tab is going to fold over like the flap of a book. Okay, with your pencil, you're going to mark on the sides, on the bottom, and on the other side. On the sides, I'm going to come in a little bit. I don't want to be right on the edge. I'm just going to make a little circle. These are going to be the spots where I punch holes. I want to space them out so I get 4 down the edge, down the side. If you can't see those, I'm going to make them really nice and dark so you can see them on the screen. I'm going to try to fit 6 across the bottom. I don't want to start right next to this one though. I'm going to start down, kind of spaced out. 1, 2, 3. I'm about halfway. I have 3 on this side. I want to get 1, 2, 3 on the other side. If I'm looking at finger spaces, I might fit 2 or 3 fingers spaced out between those dots. And I need to get 4 on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're not right on the edge. Here's why. We're going to use a hole punch. And we don't want those hole punches to be right on the edge because it will rip our paper. I've got my 4, squeezing my paper together, so I'm punching both sides at the same time. I'm getting as close to those little marks as I made as I can. If they're not perfect, that's okay. We are almost ready to start our whip stitch. For our whip stitch, your needle is going to do your work. I'm going to kind of scoot these to the side. It would be a good idea if you have hole punches everywhere to get them in the garbage before they end up on the floor. I'm going to use my needle to go down, and I'm starting at a dot or a hole close to this tab. And once I go down, I have to pull. And in the beginning, you're going to be pulling for a while because this yarn is pretty long. Pulling, pulling, pulling until I have a tail. I'm going to tie this on my paper so it doesn't fall off. Same as when I tied my needle on. 2 sides like a shoestring. Crisscross and pull through. 2 times double knot. Crisscross, twist, and pull through. Now, the pattern is our needle is always going down. And we pull, and we pull, and we pull, and we pull. I'm going to go down and pull. Our needle is always going down. Going to the next hole, down. Now, sometimes kids get confused and they end up pulling their needle through their yarn. I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to pull it away from that loop so that it doesn't crisscross. This is called a whip stitch. I'm going to go down and pull all the way around my bag. It's looking the same on the back as it is on the front. Down and pull. I want you to work your way all the way around that bag. It will go faster as you keep going if you're pulling the right tail. Mrs. Cleary is not pulling the right tail. There we go. So I'm going to continue, and when I come back, I will be a little bit further. I have whip stitched all the way around this bag, and when I get to the last hole, I'm going to now go back the other way. So I just came down this hole. I'm going to go down the second hole, and I pull, and I'm trying to pull away from that loop. And when I do that, I'm going to see an X pattern. So we want that X pattern to be all the way around the bag. I round the corner just like my normal pattern, down and pull. I'm going to continue all the way to the beginning. I'm on the last stitch down through that very first hole I started with, pulling, and now I have a little job. I have to tie my short end to the end with my needle, crisscross, looping it through and pulling. Crisscross, loop it through and pull. I can trim my yarn off, and you're also going to have to cut the yarn off your needle so you can return it. So I'm just cutting close to that first knot I made, and it comes right off. That is the stitching part of your bag.